Okay, folks, I want to welcome you to another post-game conversation where you get to hear directly from William and Mary football alums. For this session, we have Mr. John Mitrovic. We call him Metro. How you doing, Metro?
Doing great, Dante. Thanks for having me. How you doing today?
I'm doing well, man. Thanks for being on. I've really enjoyed. Well, first of all, it's just great to finally get you on. Right? We've been sort of pursuing you for quite some
Uh,
time. And
uh,
we finally got you, and it's been great sort of catching up with you and developing a relationship. And so I really appreciate it. Just happy to have this opportunity.
and we got to thank Steve McNamee for staying on
Oh,
top.
yes.
So Mac's been great on that.
Yeah.
He texted me 3 times today. Don't forget you got your interview today. So I'm like,
Mac,
dude, you at work? He's like, yeah, I'm not paying attention to the kids right now in the classroom.
where would we be without Mac? I tell you,
Oh my
like
gosh.
literally, where would we be without Mac? So shout out to
Okay.
Mac as well. You're here with
Yeah.
us in spirit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Um,
Metro,
yeah.
let's get right into it. Tell us what year you graduated, what position you played, and your major.
I graduated in 1983. I played linebacker here, although I was recruited for fullback and strong safety. And I was a kinesiology major, physical education major. I got my bachelor's of science with the goal of pursuing physical therapy school in graduate school.
Awesome, awesome, and we all know you as the sideline guy, and William and Mary with
Yeah,
the Jack sideline guy. So you stayed with the kinesiology.
yeah,
Um, so when we talked, you talked about your journey to William and Mary, and you ran into some lifelong friends even before you started at William and Mary. Talk to us about that journey, if you will, before you even got to William and Mary.
yeah. So got recruited by Villanova, Colgate, a little bit of Penn State in the beginning, but Delaware, 1AA type schools, and came down to William and Mary and just had a great visit. And I felt like this was the right place for me. And I accepted a scholarship here and came down, and not knowing that my high school coach that spring had come down to watch spring football, and he ran into Jimmy DiNardo, who's been on the post game here,
Yeah.
and he reached out to Jimmy and said, "Do me a favor, I got one of my players coming down here in the fall. Could you reach out to him?" And the first week, and back in the days when I was in school, the freshmen came in a week early, and you're in this freshman locker room, if you will. You're missing your girlfriend, you're missing your family, and all the coaches that were nice to you when they were recruiting you were screaming at you.
Yeah.
And life's not real fun at that point in time. And one afternoon, the shadow shows up in the doorway, and it's Jimmy DiNardo. And he brought me up to his dorm room, and he helped me get my classes, and it was just a breath of fresh air for me. And it was good to have somebody, and he gave me some comfort zone. And he was a kinesiology major as well. And Jimmy became my big brother in the fraternity, which was great. And I could always go to him when I was here. And of course, we stayed great friends and brothers during our career, like a lot of us do after playing a team sport like football. And
Awesome.
so it's been fun.
Oh yeah, that's great. I'm gonna have to say I had no one to do that for me, so I had to sort of come along the hard way. But thank God for for
Hey,
doing
listen, my high school coach, Chuck Donahue, was looking out for me. So that's great.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's excellent. So yeah, so you came to William and Mary, and you did not come to William and Mary as a linebacker, did you? Tell us a
I did.
little bit about that.
So I ended up being a strong safety when I was here. And I had a devastating blow the first game of the season. We played VMI in Lexington, and I didn't make travel squad. And I was really upset. I mean, I wanted to make varsity, and so I put my teeth down and my shoes down, and I decided I'm going to dress for next weekend, only to find out that my godfather was bringing 2 busloads of people from our hometown because we were playing Colgate, and and the quarterback from high school, Paul Ardilli, was playing for Colgate as a free safety. And anyway, long story short, I made 13 kickoff, but I was glad because I was on the sideline. That's all
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah,
dress
yeah.
team. And at halftime, Bill Casto, who recruited me, came up to me and said, "Listen, your first team kickoff." And my heart was going to jump out of my chest, and I get lined up, and Steve Labassi, our kicker, he kicked it like way into the end zone, but I got a chance to run down the field, and I thought, well, that's probably the only time that's going to happen. And by about 8 minutes into the third quarter, our fifth linebacker went down, and Jim Root, the head coach, came up to me and said, "Johnny, we need you to play linebacker. Get with Coach Wally Ake." And Wally Ake gave me my reads. I went in, ended up having 2 assisted tackles, 1 tackle for loss, a deflected ball. And on Monday, when I went to defensive back practice, Coach Steve Schnall said, "Metro, you're a linebacker from now on." And that was it. And then when Coach Laycock came in, we had choices to go either offense, defense. And I just had so much fun my freshman year as a linebacker, being the hammer and not the nail, that I decided that was where I wanted to stay, and it worked out great.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So how was your experience at William Mary? Tell us about that.
Great experience. I rushed and, went into Kappa Sig, and you started to meet people, other than athletes, but everybody here, they're going through the same grind, and you can lean on each other. When Coach Laycock came in, he created this work ethic, and he kept us busy, because the busier we were, the less chance we were able to get in trouble. And I get it. And honestly, coming out of a high school up in Hamilton, New Jersey, a small Catholic school, the Chuck Donahue kind of ran the same program. We were very successful because we were one of the only programs that had a strength and conditioning program that was year round, with a powerlifting team. And so we were able to just overpower a lot of people as we were coming through here. And what we learned from Coach Donnie was football is a work sport. You every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you go to practice, you put your gear on, and you work hard so you can play on Saturday. And it really kind of reflects our lives, because we go to work and we work hard every day at our jobs to do a good job, because that's the way we've been brought up. And we live for the weekends that we can enjoy our family and our friends and stuff like that. And so, football has just been a great sport. It brings people together, and the connections that you make are lifelong connections, and they last forever. And the stories just get better and better every year.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you played your last game at William and Mary, and tell us about your journey from there to, like, as we all know you, as being on the sidelines at William and Mary, because that's an awesome story that I knew nothing about. So I'd love for you to tell it.
In a nutshell, after I graduated, I moved up to New Jersey. I took a coaching position at St. Joseph's High School, and I applied for a teaching position at an elementary school. And unfortunately, I did not get that position. And literally the same week, I got a call from a former William and Mary professor, Howard Smith, who told me that there was an opening for a strength and conditioning job at Virginia Military Institute. So I got my resume together, a cover letter. I sent it down to Dr. Clark King. 10 days later, I got a call, and they invited me down for an interview. I made the top 3, came down for a second interview, got the job. And I was very fortunate, Dante, to be plugged back into an athletic program, to be close to football, because I did work closely with the football team while I was there with their strength conditioning program. And eventually I made it to the sidelines there, which was great because it kept me close to the game. And during that whole period of time, one of my teammates, Wayne McMasters, he had gone off to PT school at Duke University, and he and I had always talked when we were at William Mary working together. And I always had a focus of trying to get into PT school, but I needed some prerequisites prior to doing that, as well as some experience. And long story short, I was able, after my third year at Virginia Military Institute, I got accepted to Thomas Jefferson's Medical College up in Philadelphia, and I got my physical therapy degree, and I was able to work out an internship with Wayne down here that spring of my last year. And at that point, he had just opened one office, could not offer me a job. So I went up to New Jersey looking for a job to work at a hospital. And about 2 weeks before football season came, Wayne called me up. He said, "Johnny, I got a loan for a second office. I need you to come down and work for me." And I got a U-Haul and packed it up, and I rolled down. And next thing I know, we were traveling to a UVA game. It was a night game, I think on Labor Day weekend. And we got there about 15 minutes before the game, and walked down the sideline. And ever since, was on the sideline. And in the early years, Wayne was there, but he got more busier in the Newport News area and kind of, stayed down. And he gave me great opportunity after about 2 or 3 years of working down in our Denby office to open up an office here in Williamsburg. And it gave me a great opportunity to plug into William Mary a little bit better because I was living in Williamsburg at the time.
Yeah.
And he, of course, he introduced me to Steve Cole and that group. And I got to work with my mentor, Mont Lincolnager, who was my anatomy professor at William and Mary, and also with Dr. Ed Wilhelm, who I think you know, who was involved in the program, one of the orthopedic doctors. And it's just been a fun time. Obviously, as I'm getting older, it's interesting during the pandemic when we didn't have that one season and we had the spring season, I decided to go sit with my wife. And I realized she liked having me up there with her, so that's been a great thing because now she's like, what just happened? And tell me what a tight end is again. And but, so that's been a lot of fun. And Wayne and I and his wife, we share seats together. So it's been great.
That's great. That's
great. It's been a fun time. Really enjoyed
it. Okay. That's awesome. My story with the doc was one of my stories, I guess, is I came off and my finger was all mangled, disgusting. And I'm thinking he was going to do something very, like position, like something that was just uber technical. Takes my finger, tells somebody to hold, and just pops it back in. And like, all right, buddy, let's go. And I'm like, all right, well, let's go. So that's my one story. At halftime, he doctored me up with some shots in the whole nine.
But you were able to play in the second half.
I played. I don't know how well, but I played. Yeah.
That's sports medicine at its finest.
At its finest. Yeah.
And I forgot to mention earlier when I made it to the varsity locker room my senior year, I got sat next to Steve Shull. Steve Shull was an All-American linebacker here who actually ended up going on to play for Miami for 4 or 5 years after he got out. And Steve was great for me because he kind of put his arm around me and he taught me the ins and outs of playing linebacker during my freshman season. So that was a lot of fun and it made a big difference. Awesome. And then the other guy I wanted to mention was Paul Hoffman. Paul, we ended up rooming together my sophomore year, and during family weekend, our mom and dads came up to our room in the frat, and Paul and I went downstairs to get some beer for them. And, when they first met each other, it's all shaking hands and cordial, hi, how are you? And Paul and I go downstairs and we come up 5 minutes later and everybody's hugging each other. We're like, what the hell's going on here? And we find out that on my mother's side, that Paul and I are actually third cousins. And I mean, what's the chance of that? And so to this day, every time I see Hoff, he says, what's up, cuz?
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
Good. So, those guys, and we all stay in touch. And I've stayed in touch with Steve Shull with our oldest daughter out in California. I've had the opportunity to get together with Steve a couple times for lunch while I was out there. And he was here this fall, which was great. So, a lot. You make a lot of relationships here. There's great people to reach out to that have graduated from now. I encourage a lot of guys, come back for games, man. It's just there's a great group of guys that comes back for games, and if it's a great place to meet people together. And unfortunately, as you know, we lost David Murphy this past year, and also Jeff Wolf. And at Jeff Wolf's life celebration, there were some guys there that hadn't been around for a long, long time, and they were like, "Man, it's just great seeing everybody." And I go, "Dude, you come down to a game, you'll see all these guys. They come to a lot of games." And so we got to push that message for our alums as we get older to get back to some of the games, because it's a great venue. It's a great place to watch a game. And where our program is right now is in a good place. And the more support we can have, the better. So I wanted to put that out there for the guys that are watching. And if you're hungry, I think I'm in space 112. I run 2 grills when I'm there. Please come by and eat a slot dog.
And you're also very active on social media, posting grill pics. So that'll get people all warmed up. Yeah. So then you go and visit you and get the real deal. How about that?
Yeah. That'd be great.
Yeah. So Metro, this was awesome. I knew it would be. Again, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah.
And we're all looking forward to seeing you whenever we come down.
Same here. Dante, I appreciate your time. Appreciate what you're doing. It's really brought our teams back together. Again, lifelong connections that will stay forever. And so the more that we can, or the more frequency we get to see each other, the better it is, and enjoy each other's company while we're on this earth.
Absolutely. Thank you
All
again.
right, buddy. Take care.